Maybe you felt the same way I have, that after a certain age we start wondering if we're still allowed to wear the dresses we once loved. I'll never forget one autumn afternoon last year when I was sitting in a little corner cafe. Through the window I saw an older woman, probably in her 70s, walking slowly down the sidewalk. She was wearing a light beige cardigan that reached her knees, paired with a simple white blouse. I couldn't take my eyes off her, not because she stood out, but because something about her felt so familiar. She reminded me of my mother a few years ago, and even of myself as I started crossing into my 60s. A quiet sadness crept into my heart, like I was looking at a version of myself I didn't want to become. It wasn't that she wasn't beautiful, but the way she dressed made her look like she was trying to hide herself, like she'd given up on loving who she was. I sat there sipping my coffee and started wondering, why do we let age decide how we live, how we dress, and how we feel about ourselves? I used to think that after 60 I should stick to safe outfits, muted colors, shapeless styles, anything to cover up the signs of time. But then I met Grace, a 79-year-old woman I got to know at a family gathering. She completely changed how I see fashion in our later years. That day, Grace was wearing a vibrant red dress. Not too long, not too short, just perfect to highlight her slender frame. Her eyes sparkled as she shared stories from her younger days, and she said something I'll never forget. "I don't wear this red dress to get attention. I wear it so I can look in the mirror and smile every morning." Those words made me realize that true beauty isn't about looking young. It's about how we feel about ourselves. But they also made me see something else. There are little mistakes in the way we dress that so many women over 60, like me and maybe even you, often make without noticing. These mistakes don't just make us look less elegant. They make us feel like we're stepping back, like we're trying to hide who we are. Today, I want to share with you 6 things I've learned from Grace and from my own journey. This isn't about pointing fingers. It's about finding our confidence, our elegance, and the joy of loving ourselves again, no matter our age. One of the first mistakes I noticed, and something I saw in that lady at the cafe that day, is wearing clothes that are way too oversized. I get why we do it. After 60, our bodies change, and sometimes we want to hide the parts we're not so proud of anymore. I've been there too. I remember once wearing a cardigan that went down to my knees, over a loose, shapeless dress. When I looked in the mirror, I felt like I was hiding inside my own clothes. But Grace showed me that oversized clothes don't make us look smaller. They actually make us look heavier and less vibrant. She told me, choose clothes that fit you, not too tight but not too loose either. A top that sits nicely on your shoulders, a dress that schemes your waist, will make you look so much lighter and more graceful. I gave it a try, and honestly, that small change made me feel so much more confident. Have you ever felt like I did, thinking an oversized outfit would hide everything, but instead it just made you feel less radiant? As I started paying more attention to how I dressed, I realized it wasn't just oversized clothes that were the problem. Another mistake I noticed, and one I used to make all the time, was sticking to dark, muted colors. I remember a time when my closet was full of nothing but black, gray, and beige. I thought those colors were safe, that they'd make me look serious and appropriate for my age. But then one day I saw my mom, who's 78 now, wearing a bright yellow scarf I'd given her for her birthday. She draped it over her shoulders, pairing it with a light gray sweater, and I couldn't believe the difference a little color could make. Her face lit up, her eyes sparkled, and she looked so much younger than her years. It hit me that after 60, we often gravitate towards safe colors because we're afraid of standing out, afraid of being judged. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why are we so scared? Why can't we let ourselves shine even just a little in our own lives? I started experimenting with brighter colors. Not bold ones like red or orange, but soft, gentle shades like baby blue, blush pink, or pale yellow. A scarf, a small pair of earrings, or even just a pastel sweater was enough to make me feel alive again, not just existing. Grace once told me, color isn't just something you wear. It's something you feel. Pick colors that make you smile when you look in the mirror. And I think that's something we all deserve, to smile at ourselves every single day. But it's not just about color. Another thing I realized is how much the shoes we wear can change the way we feel about ourselves. I used to think that after 60, I should stick to flat shoes with no heels because they're comfy and safe. I remember wearing an old pair of flats to my granddaughter's birthday party. I thought no one would notice my shoes, but as I walked around I felt my back slouching, and I couldn't stand as tall as I used to. I felt so frumpy and it made me self-conscious the whole time. Later, I asked Grace about it, and she smiled softly and said, "A good pair of shoes doesn't just help you walk. It lifts you up, both physically and emotionally." She suggested I try low-heeled shoes, maybe an inch or so, with a cushioned sole for comfort. I gave it a shot, and honestly, that small change made me feel like I was standing taller, walking more gracefully, and most importantly, I felt so much more elegant. Have you ever thought about the shoes you wear and how they make you feel? As I started switching up my shoes and adding a bit of color to my outfits, I realized there was something else just as important: my hair. I used to think that after 60, I didn't need to care much about my hair anymore. I'd let it grow long, leave it down, and usually just tie it back in a messy bun. But then one day, I saw a woman in the grocery store, probably around my age. She had a short bob haircut, neatly trimmed, with a soft brown color that looked so natural. She looked so fresh and radiant. Not because she was trying to look 30, but because her hairstyle brightened her face and made her seem like she was truly enjoying every day of her life. I stood there watching her and thought to myself, why haven't I tried something new? The next week, I went to the salon. I told the stylist I wanted something shorter, easier to manage, and something that would make me feel refreshed. She suggested a chin-length bob with a slight wave at the ends. When I looked in the mirror after she was done, I almost didn't recognize myself. Not because I looked 20 years younger, but because I felt renewed, like I'd rediscovered a part of myself I'd lost somewhere along the way. I realized that one big mistake so many women over 60 make is letting their hair grow long and messy or not taking care of it properly. Long hair can be beautiful, but if it's not trimmed and styled, it can make us look unkempt and tired. A shorter, manageable style doesn't just save time. It brightens your face and makes you feel younger in the best way. Have you ever thought about changing your hairstyle, just to feel a little spark of something new in your life? After changing my hairstyle, I started paying more attention to the little details in my outfits, and I realized that jewelry can make a huge difference too. I remember once going to a friend's gathering and wearing a pair of big, sparkly earrings with a chunky necklace. I thought they'd make me stand out, but when I looked in the mirror, I felt like I was trying too hard, like I was trying to be someone I wasn't. After the party, a friend gently told me, "You don't need to wear so much jewelry to look beautiful. Sometimes just one delicate piece can make you shine so much more." I thought about her words a lot. I started experimenting with how I wore jewelry. Instead of flashy pieces, I went for smaller, more elegant ones, like a pair of tiny pearl earrings or a thin necklace with a simple heart pendant. I realized that after 60, jewelry doesn't need to be loud to make an impact. One mistake so many women make is choosing oversized, overly sparkly jewelry because they think it'll make them stand out. But in reality, delicate, understated pieces can highlight our seasoned beauty so much more naturally. I still remember how Grace looked with her simple pearl necklace and how it made her seem so refined, so elegant. Have you ever felt like you were trying too hard with your jewelry, instead of letting it bring out your natural beauty? Another mistake I noticed, and something I see in so many women over 60, is wearing the wrong kind of pants, like thin leggings. I get why we choose leggings. They're comfy, easy to wear, and seem like a safe option. I used to have a pair of black leggings I'd wear almost every day, until my daughter said to me, "Mom, those leggings don't look very elegant on you." I was a little surprised, but when I looked closer, I realized that thin leggings didn't flatter my shape. They made me look less polished, especially when paired with long, oversized tops. Grace suggested I try palazzo pants instead. Those wide-leg, flowy pants that are both comfortable and chic. I gave them a try, and honestly, I felt like a whole new version of myself. Palazzo pants didn't just hide the parts one wasn't confident about. They made me look taller, more graceful. Have you ever thought about switching up the pants you wear to see how they make you feel? Looking back on my journey of rethinking how I dress, I realized there's one last mistake so many women over 60, including me, often make. We forget that fashion isn't just about clothes, it's about how we feel about ourselves. I used to think that after 60, I didn't need to care about fashion anymore, that I should just wear whatever felt comfortable and call it a day. But I learned that when I wear an outfit that makes me feel confident, I don't just look better to others. I feel more alive, more in love with myself. One day, I put on a soft pink sweater with a pair of white palazzo pants, and as I stepped outside, a neighbor said to me, "You look so radiant today." That comment made me smile all day long. I want to tell you that no matter your age, whether you're 60, 70, or even 80, you deserve to feel beautiful in your own skin. These little fashion mistakes like wearing oversized clothes, sticking to dull colors, choosing the wrong shoes, letting your hair get messy, wearing loud jewelry, or opting for thin leggings aren't the end of the world. We can change them one small step at a time to rediscover our elegance, our grace, and the joy of loving ourselves. You don't need to change the whole world. Just change the way you treat yourself every morning. Try a top in a brighter color, a new hairstyle, or a pair of shoes that make you stand taller, and you'll see that aging isn't about stepping back. It's about living the right way at the right pace and true to who you are. I hope my story and the lessons I learned from Grace inspire you, even just a little. Whether you're 60, 70, or 80, today can always be the first day of your most beautiful chapter. You deserve to shine, to be loved, and to live a life that feels full and complete, don't you think?